I was going to read another chapter from book two um, of P.S. By the way, but something has actually been on my mind for quite some time as it relates to um, self esteem. And I went back and I was thinking about something that is near and dear to my heart. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends. Um, I always thought that it was because I just wasn't the popular kid in school. I wasn't a jock. I wasn't, you know, Mr. Popular. I wasn't the best dressed. I wasn't, I just wasn't that guy. Especially when I was way younger, when I was like in my, single digits of age, like, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I wasn't that guy. Even when I got older and I got into, left elementary school and went to junior high school, I still wasn't that guy. I got to high school, I became a little more well known because I got heavily invested in ROTC. I had the acquired, years before, but I was never that guy. Um, but one of the things that I did notice when I got to high school is that I figured out I had a learning disability, and with that learning disability, I became better at understanding what I was supposed to do in order to get where I needed to be. And once I was able to hone in what I could do better in order to help with my learning disability, it really engaged me to be able to be more successful even when I got out of high school and I got into college and I, earned my degrees and all that jazz. And I'm saying all this to say this is that you never should allow yourself to dim your star, your shine, your diamond just for the sake of fitting in with other people. Because as much as I wanted to fit in with other people, a lot of the times I would always feel like they were smarter than me. I would always feel they were better than me than whatever, better than me for whatever reason. And as I, when you get older, you begin to reflect on a lot of things. You begin to um, think back on elementary school, junior high school, college years, all that jazz. At least for me, anyways. I began to look back on those things because I felt like, well, what was it about me that people just didn't want to be a part of? And I thought maybe it was my personality, which I do think that I can't sit and pretend like, I had the best personality because I didn't. I always had an attitude. Um, I've always had, a very, slick mouth. I always got to come back for something very witty at a younger age, at a young age. But I don't think that that was always the case. I think when I got older and I began to understand how my mind worked and how I process information, it kind of put me in a space where I didn't really fit in with anybody. People that were younger than me, I didn't really relate to them. People that were older than me, depending on the age bracket, didn't really find me appealing to be a part of the group. And when I say older than me, I mean maybe about 3 or 4 years. So I ended up finding comfort in people that were even older than me. So I started being friends with people that were 30 and plus, 40 and plus, 50 and plus. Those became like my core friends. And when you're sitting there and they tend to forget how old you are, and you begin to understand, wait a minute, I can feel myself in this circle. This is good. But when you're reaching back to pull somebody else that's may not be on that same parallel as you are, but they may have the potential, which is why I don't like people with potential. They have the potential to be on your level, so to speak, and you're reaching back from them. They may not be ready for it. And this goes back into what I was talking about last month, I believe, when I was posting about having a gallon-sized blessing, but you're not able to fill a pint-sized cup with a gallon-sized blessing because they're not ready for it. You know what I mean? So for me, because I still wanted friends that were of my age, of my range, of my era, you begin to do little things to tweak who you are as a person. And when you begin to do this, you chip away at parts of who you are, and not necessarily the best parts of who you are, but they could, the way you're chipping could eventually get to the best parts of you, the things that make you special, the things that make you unique, the things that make you um, uh, um, worthy of everybody's company. So when you begin to chip away at parts of you, like, you know, maybe not always using big words, or not always speaking in a tone that makes it sound like you know everything, or you, somebody asks you a question, you play dumb like you don't know. Well, I don't know what that is. What is that? You begin to just chip away at little parts of who you are, and then you begin to realize, well, who am I now? Who am I now? I'm not the smart guy anymore. I'm not the patient person anymore. I'm not the guy who, remembers birthdays and anniversaries, and and I'm just the, I don't really care, just almost vapid. You begin to become this person because you're trying to fit in with other people that don't necessarily, they don't do anything for you. And when you find people who aren't doing anything for you, and here's what I mean by that: you shouldn't be with people that aren't enhancing your life. If you can't be friends with people who aren't there to enhance your life, then you don't need to be friends with those people. Now, I'm not saying you can't, as in like don't do that because I said so. No, what I'm saying is that if the people that you're hanging with aren't enhancing your life, you may want to rethink your inks, because those people are probably there to leech, to be leeches. And I've experienced that a lot, because what I began to understand is, even though I thought I was doing a good job at being this other person, when someone needed something from me, that light bulb went off, like, oh, I can help this person. People begin to see what you really are, and people begin to understand how they can use your talents, your abilities, your gifts for their advantage. Prime example: anybody that really knows me, like knows I love to cook, and I do a fairly decent job at doing so, if I do say so myself. People find ways to use your talents for their benefit. Don't allow people to use your talents and you pretend as if they're not worth anything. Your talents are worth just as much as anybody else's. I sing. Okay, you asked me to sing at your wedding. You asked me to sing at somebody's funeral. I'm not charging you for it, but it's, LB, I want you to do this. LB, I need you to do that. LB, can you be here? LB, can you be there? Okay, so now again, I'm using all these talents and abilities that I have to help you. I tutor. Doesn't matter the subject. Only one I'm not really like great in is necessarily social studies, history. Government economics, I can kind of roll with. Math, science, English, cool. I'm down for the cause. But I find myself sitting in a room with a person who has no basic knowledge of anything. But I'm using my talents to help you gain whatever abilities you need. But it's not because you're trying to enhance what you're doing through me. You're trying to use me and then toss me to the side when you're done. And me being the person that I am, I try my best to give people the benefit of the doubt, because when you just assume that everybody's out to be, that everybody's out to use you, you lose all trust with everybody. And I never wanted to be that person. I don't want to be that person. I am not that person. I'm not going to be that person. I'm closing my heart off because people just, have mistreated me. But it did give me a sense of awareness. Never let anybody dim your light, and don't you dim your light for anybody, for any purpose, because there's not a reason to dim your light. There's no reason to downgrade yourself. There's no reason to make yourself feel as if you're not worthy of love, of happiness, of joy, of great friendship, of great fellowship. You deserve as much as anybody else. Don't ever dim your shine for anybody, because it's not worth it. Period. It's not worth it. Never dim your shine, and never use your talents. Don't never let anyone use your talents just for their benefit, and you get nothing out of it.